The Collins family is having more fun up front these days. When Mary and Chris Collins wanted to give their front yard a fresh, more energizing look, they never realized that a few changes could make such a big difference.
We had these old boxwoods that I think had been there maybe since the house was built in '65, and they were real leggy looking. They weren't very pretty anymore. There was an old brick pathway that had been laid when the house was built in '65, and it was falling over, and all of the boxwoods had grown into it, and it was impossible to use the pathway.
In back, it was in such bad shape that Mary pulled up the bricks, awaiting inspiration. She found it in a design update consultation with landscape architect James David.
We did want something where we could go from the driveway to the front door, and somewhere that the children could walk onto.
With his concept to pull out the boxwoods and build a more accessible walkway in their place, Mary worked with designer Debbie Jackson from Sagebrush Landscaping to finalize the design and go for installation using the old bricks. Mary and Chris quickly discovered that the path was more than just a convenient walkway for their daughters.
They're big scooter girls. They like to ride their scooters, and now it's their favorite little path.
James also envisioned a patio in the space between the house and garage.
Because it used to be just a big mud pit back there. It was very hard to get anything to grow.
For now, they've kept the old main sidewalk. Its update is a future project, but until then it works fine for visiting family and friends. And for scooter girls. To update plantings, that meant ideas for partial shade. The neighborhood also meant a plant palette that didn't agree with deer.
When I first moved into the house, which was about, 8 years ago, I noticed, why doesn't anybody have flowers, out in front of their homes? And so that was my first thing I did, was to get these big pots and put them by the street where there was a lot of sun. And all my neighbors must have just laughed at me, because of course the next morning I woke up and they were all completely eaten down to the stubs.
To their deer-resistant, shade-tolerant plant list, Mary and Chris added that they wanted clean lines, low maintenance, and low water use. Combining James David's first consultation and Debbie Jackson's additions, they created curving beds that broke up narrow static lines with depth and movement. To avoid a busy feel, Debbie clustered plants. She varied foliar color, height, and form for subtle, uncluttered attention. Just a few changes changed everything. They've created an inviting entryway that's given new usability to the front yard. The scooter girls are no longer relegated to the driveway. Now they can also zoom past their parents out visiting with the neighbors.
My husband and I can sit there and hang out and have a glass of tea while the girls are riding their scooters, and that's really fun. It is nice to have this front yard, and we do use it so much more.